Bill Adams, First Class Charter of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. I have some guests with us today. I have Mr. Chris Davis, and I have Mrs. Kristen with us today. And visiting with us, they work in the First Class office. And we're just going to discuss First Class Charter. And good morning to y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just y'all talk close to your mics there, so everybody can hear you. And also, you're on the TV, so for our YouTube friends and also our Facebook friends.
We love it.
We love it. Yeah. And so let's talk about what First Class is. Chris, I want to throw that to you. What is First Class Charter?
So First Class Charter, we are a motor coach company. We are based right here in Lawrenceburg. Started the company in about 2007. I believe it's about the time you started the company. And we provide transportation for schools, churches, the military, honestly, anybody that gives us a call and needs transportation. So we move people all over the country.
That's right. Into Canada, maybe speak to our Canadian travels just for a moment.
Absolutely. We have, over the past few years, we've run up into Quebec, and obviously it's very, very popular to go to Niagara Falls. A lot of groups go to Niagara Falls, but we've done up into Quebec, Quebec City. We do 2 or 3 trips a year, probably up into that area. We do several up to the Niagara Falls area also. So it's been, like I say, not only nationwide, but internationally too.
That's right. We do have some trips out west coming up for the summer, and speak to that just for a moment. Maybe a destination or two that we hit.
Absolutely. I know this year we've got working with our friends over at See America Tour up in Hendersonville, Tennessee. They've got 2 buses headed out to Yellowstone this year. That's actually an increase over 1 bus the past couple of years for him, so he's really excited about that. I think he's at the point where he wants to grow that trip. That's a pretty popular trip.
It's a fantastic trip. My wife and I actually went as passengers a couple of years ago on Yellowstone trip. Fabulous way to travel by motor coach, and great way to meet new friends, see the countryside, and you're going places that you would never go before.
Absolutely. I can remember my first, going back many years ago, my first bus trip, and it was just a day trip for our school taking a field trip, and that was 3rd grade. I remember well. Actually ended up working for the man who owned that company at one point, so it was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's great. You talked about different groups that we transport: schools, churches, sports or athletics, the tourism industry, which is really hot right now. I read an article recently. There's going to be an extra $1 trillion added to the tourism revenues just in North America this year. The 2019 number was 10 trillion. This year, tourism has really bounced back. In 2024, there's an extra $1 trillion going to be added. So we're over $11 trillion that's going to be pumped into the tourism industry. Maybe you can speak to that. Some of what would hotels and restaurants and ticket venues. You got a thought on that?
Well, I think what we're really seeing is this is the comeback. This is the comeback from 2020. We've seen a lot of travel in 22, 23, but I think this year has really, it's going to be set as the benchmark. I know we looked at 19 being that way before, because everybody had really great years, 19 going into 20. And then the post-COVID world, I think it's just taken us a little bit to get back there, but there's a lot of things from that standpoint in talking to our hotel friends and talking to our travel friends across the state and across the country. Everybody is seeing an increase. People are really getting back out there and traveling. It's really, it's encouraging to see people coming back and doing things, and international travel is starting to come back again.
Let me ask you this also. We're I want you to speak to this. We're involved not just in transportation, but we partner with in other associations such as SIDA. I want you to explain what SIDA is, or maybe UMA or ABA. Can you speak to those? Those are acronyms for different associations, and explain that First Class is more than just running a motor coach down the road. We have the pulse on the industries.
Absolutely. We're members of several groups. You mentioned SIDA, that is the Student and Youth Travel Association. They have an annual conference every year. Last year was in Winnipeg. I went to that conference, had a really good time up there, and met some good partners and made some really good relationships up there to grow our business. We're also members of UMA, the United Motor Coach Association, ABA, which is the American Bus Association. Attended both of those conferences this year also. UMA was in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh's a great city. And then ABA was right here at home. It was in Nashville. And we all got snowed in, so it was quite exciting. Even our northern friends were going, "Hey, how do you handle this?" So,
That's right. Yeah.
And then obviously we have a little more local group is our Tennessee Motor Coach Association, and those are our travel partners here in the state. Those are the people that we really lean on when we have issues out on the road, or if we need help here and there. And the same for them; they lean on us for help also.
Right.
We're also a member of the Alabama Motor Coach Association,
Right.
Another great association. So this business is so relational, and we just have to, we really have to attend these things to keep ourselves in that groove. There's a lot of learning to be done there. There's a lot of networking to be done there, and just camaraderie among the folks there. It's one of those deals. We've got friends all over the country. We're sitting in the office the other day, and the news comes on: tornadoes in New Orleans. Well, I knew where my first call was our friends down at Lewis Coaches down in New Orleans. I called Mr. Harold. Hey, you guys okay? Yeah. He would have done the same for us. And so that relationship. That's relationship building.
Yeah, it is. Small industry. It's about 1,500 players, operators nationwide right now. It's down about half from what it was in 2019. But business is back. We're rolling. We had a record year. We had a banner year on the number of miles that we traveled, number of trips that we traveled. Approximately 35,000 passengers that First Class transported this year. And I can't remember the number of trips. Was it 1,500, 1,400 trips that Kristen, you made packets for every one of those trips?
Yes, sir.
And I want to introduce Miss Kristen. I call her Miss Kristen Keel. She's been recently married. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
But I want you to talk to us about drivers just for a moment. Drivers play a really big part in what we do at First Class Charter. They're the face of our company. You're the voice, that sweet voice that people hear when people call and ask for a quote. Maybe you can talk to us about the commercial driver's license and some of the requirements that drivers must have before they can drive for us.
Absolutely, yes. So I started First Class Charter November 1st in 2022. Before that, I was in the trucking company as a dispatcher, and that's where I found my love for dispatching.
Wow.
I absolutely love it. Right now, we are really searching for great drivers that can drive as a team, but also solo as well. You must have your CDL, current CDL, medical card, passenger endorsements. Let's see, hours of service. You'll have to have some knowledge on that, which is also something we could kind of guide you through. And really, we're looking for team players, people that are honest, that are looking for more than just a job, a career. They travel all over the country. They meet new people. The drivers we have now, we have a great group, and we're looking just to add to that amazing team we have right now.
We've added buses lately. We bought it just came in 2 weeks ago, and we've already got several thousand miles on that. That's a 2024 Prevost, and 56 seats just like the rest of them. We're pleased to have that. It sets the standard really high for first class. And what about maybe some of the things that the types of trips that drivers could expect? If they sit down with you in an interview, what type of trips would you lay on the table for a new hire? What would you tell them for us?
So we have all different types of trips. We do things local. We do things in various states, including Canada at times. And we've got one-day trips. We've got multiple-day trips. Starting out, of course, we would put you on a one-day trip, get your training in, and then move on to multi-bus moves, which is more than one bus. And whenever you feel comfortable, we let you ride.
Much different. You mentioned that you were in the trucking world.
Yes.
And motor coach drivers and truck drivers, they all run down the same road,
Yes.
but they sleep in different places.
Right.
All right?
Right.
You book a lot of hotel rooms.
I do.
Talk to us about hotel rooms. Where do drivers spend the night?
Yes. So your hotel rooms, I will directly book them. And we make sure that, you're not getting up super early, 2 o'clock in the morning to get your bus. Usually we will have a room for you so you can get your rest in. And I will book those for you. If they ever need to be canceled, I will cancel them as well. When you are on a multi-day trip, our clients actually, they give the hotel rooms.
Okay.
So they provide that for you guys. And I actually double check with them to make sure they have also got you guys a reservation. And those hotels are actually pretty nice,
Yeah.
I would say.
Hampton Inns, sometimes Best Western,
Yeah.
or some of the upper scale hotels. Drivers eat pretty good too.
Yes.
We have some really healthy drivers that love to hang out with the groups. You've got to be a people person, and one of the things that we've said for years is you can be a great motor coach driver and be the most safe driver on the road, but yet it's a combination of personality and driving skill and safety.
Yes.
So it's the best of both worlds, isn't it, Chris? That you need to have both skill sets. That you actually you need to like people, being around people, and have a servant's heart. You want to speak to that just for a moment?
Absolutely. That's one of the things we pride ourselves in at First Class is having drivers who have that servant heart, who want to take care of those customers while maintaining a safe vehicle, driving in a safe manner, along with, keeping up with their logs and their hours of service, things of that nature. Our group of drivers, we probably receive, of everywhere I have ever been, we receive more requests for drivers from repeat customers. We receive requests from drivers from new customers who have talked to repeat customers who say, hey, you need to have this driver on your trip. So that's one of the big things we love to hear. That helps us know that our drivers are doing what they're supposed to do on the road. And so it's a really positive thing for us.
We've received a couple of compliments. Kristen received compliments this week by email, thumbs up on a couple of drivers,
Yes.
even from military.
Yes.
And we're so proud to be able to transport our troops, and it's just special for us to be able to do that for training or being deployment. And sometimes, Chris, there's multi-bus moves. I've seen as many as 50 buses with other operators at one time at Fort Campbell. Have you been a part of those type moves?
Absolutely. We've done those 50, 60, 70 bus moves over a period of about 2 or 3 days, and the bus just never turns off. It's just a constant roll, and you make things happen. that's where those partnerships come in, and we work, like I say, we work with our military, and then we work with the other companies out there on the road.
Yeah.
It can get a little crazy at times, but it happens. We make it happen.
Yeah.
And it is a source of pride for us
Yes.
It is.
as a company to be able to transport our troops.
Right. We've got currently we've got going on. We're doing an SEC team. We've got one of y'all want to speak to that, Kristen or Chris? We're transporting one of our SEC sports teams. Maybe want to just give folks on the radio here an example of some of the sports moves that we do.
Sure. Currently we've got the University of Missouri women's tennis team over in Athens, Georgia for the SEC tennis championship. So really cool to be able to do those things, working with our partners. We have just in the last, we work a lot with the University of North Alabama. We've had their, is that baseball or softball this weekend? I can't remember.
Softball.
I believe it was softball. We had them over in Conway, Arkansas, and we worked really closely with them. They're very good friends of ours. We love that. We love that relationship. But we've really stepped into that realm of these teams, especially when you get to the SEC. These teams travel by air more than they travel by land, and so they will fly in somewhere. As a matter of fact, we picked up the Missouri group. We picked them up at Starkville, Mississippi, at Mississippi State, and they had played their series there in Starkville and went directly to Athens from there. So it's kind of unique how their travel works too. So
Right. We're staying on the topic of drivers, and but we're also talking about the air-ground connection that we provide from airport to ground transportation to the venues wherever they need to be. Drivers, Kristen, have got to be on their toes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They've got to be willing to work with security people,
Yes.
with other drivers, being able to take instructions really well. And we're talking about recruiting drivers. Maybe you can speak to that just for a moment.
Yes.
Some of the expectations of on the road, not problems, but responsibilities that drivers have.
Right. So, first of all, I just want to say commercial motor coach driving is huge. And I honestly did not know how big it was until I started this company. I didn't realize that there had been children in Lawrenceburg that have never even been out of Lawrenceburg, which really just humbled me a lot. So in drivers, yes, they have got to be people person. I mean, they've got to be willing to help, wanting to help, helping passengers, maybe elderly passengers, have a good personality, be able to work well as a team, also as solo, taking directions very well, going with the flow. Things change. We get so busy. Sometimes we have to shift things, and we let our drivers know immediately. And really, we just need to go with the flow, just be a professional and get our job done with pride and correctly.
We're looking for, we're always in the recruiting mode of, maybe you can speak to this for a moment, full-time and part-time drivers. Full-time and part-time. Maybe you want to speak to that just for a moment. Maybe the difference or the quality of person. It's the same quality of person we need.
Yes, so we're looking for both full-time and some part-time drivers. Part-time, a lot of times it'll be, you won't be doing the complete work week like a full-time driver, but we do need flexible drivers. We need, even if you do want part-time, say you want 15, 20 hours a week, you can let us know and we will make that work. And that is a little bit of the difference from the full-time drivers. Basically, if you say yes, you get more work, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
People that are really flexible,
Right.
that can,
We're hiring several people that we've got a new kind of a new model where it's a career path, and the full time is more suited to a career than just a part time gig. And I want to drive a day or two on the weekend. So we're hiring a lot of females.
Yes.
Some of our best drivers are females.
They are.
And it just tickles us to death. Maybe you can talk about females in the bus world right now,
Yeah.
and how it's really working.
It's amazing. The amount of requests we have for these drivers that have taken groups and they're like, I want this driver again. It is enormous. It's very humbling, and we love our women drivers.
We sure
They
do.
do an amazing job. Amazing job.
Great equipment, great
Yes.
drivers. With that female, the right female in that driver's seat, and I call it pulling the mother card, and where they can pull out that gentleness, especially on kids that never been out of the county.
Right.
Chris, I'm going to ask you a question. A couple of local trips that we do, that we've done for several years now. Things maybe we work with Leadership Lawrence County. We do the Capitol Day, and we're doing some things for Lawrence County schools right now that are really touch my heart. Kids that have never been out of the county. Can you want to speak to that? Maybe some local things that are churches that are going on.
Sure, absolutely. We work really closely with our schools. They do a lot of trips to BizTown in Nashville, Junior Achievement BizTown. Those kids go up there from each of the elementary schools here in the county. They go up we probably do, I don't know, 8 or 10, 12 of those trips a year. Maybe more than that. I can't keep up sometimes. But then we work, obviously we work, like I say, we work closely with them. They also there are several groups that will go to Dollywood, and especially this time of year, kind of the end of the year trips for the honors clubs, things like that. We go to Chattanooga with those groups also on field trips. We work really closely with our Chamber of Commerce. I believe that we probably have the best Chamber of Commerce in the state of Tennessee.
I'll agree with that. Yes, sir.
Having worked with another one out of state, I believe this Chamber of Commerce is top notch. It has the best staff that I've ever worked with. We do this, and obviously I was a member of Leadership Lawrence this year.
Right.
We actually graduate tomorrow for that.
Yeah, congratulations.
So that will be
Yes.
fun. So we're excited about that, to release our project and let everybody know what we've done. But that program, for anybody out there that's in business or in the community, that is an excellent program and very much worth the money, to learn about, not only learn about the county, but learn how you can contribute to the leadership of the county. Now that's a little off target from what we were talking about, but we did do the excuse me. We did do the trip to the Capitol this year. We got to meet Senator Paige Wally. We got to meet Representative Capley, and so it was really good to get up there and meet those guys and talk to them about what we do here in Lawrence County. They are hands and feet out there for us, for our people in the county, and to be able to talk to them face to face about issues and things that we cross day to day. We also got to meet with the head of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, which was a really good and from our standpoint was a really good thing, because we interact with those guys on a regular basis with our buses and inspections. We also work well with, that trip was a great trip up there just to get entrenched into that. We also work with several churches here in town. I know that the senior group from Pulaski Street Church, I think they take several trips a year, and we work close with them. We work with the senior center. Stephanie Sinclair. I'm going to give you a plug, sister. We love Miss Stephanie over there.
We love our seniors.
We absolutely love our seniors. She has done a wonderful job. I'm going to give her a plug too.
We're going to have her on, by the way.
Okay.
on the show. So,
Very good. We'll have her sitting here talking to us about her trips. She has done a great job of getting the seniors out of just being right there in the center and traveling, and even their little day trip down to Athens to see. I think it's a dinner and a show. I think maybe an Elvis guy down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we try to we support our community in any way we can,
sure.
and it's just we're right here. There are so many people that I hear since I've been here, going on about 2 years now. They all go, hey, wait, I didn't even know that we had a charter bus company in town. I was like, wait a minute, okay, good. So that's my goal. That's what I'm tasked with. I want everybody, 64,000 people. I don't know how many people are in the county. I want them all to know we're sitting here.
45,000. Yeah. So back to the drivers, we're looking for full-time and part-time drivers.
Yes.
If we've got drivers that are candidates that would be interested, what's the best way to contact First Class, and who should they talk to?
So they should talk to me, Kristen. They can either stop by the office and talk to me there. I've actually helped a couple of drivers fill out the application. You can go to firstclasscharter.net. All the way to the bottom, you click employment, and it will actually direct you to Avatar, and it is very easy. It's really just laid out for you to put everything in. It pops on my screen as soon as you complete it, and then I look through everything, and then we go from there. Go to your interview.
Do an interview.
We do.
In face, maybe a phone call interview.
Yeah. So first we'll do a phone interview with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then if I feel like it's something that we both can gain something positive with, then I will have them come in and meet Bill and Jimmy Ann and have a face-to-face interview,
Mm-hmm.
and then we make our decision from there.
That's great. It's fabulous. What type of endorsement and licensing do drivers need to drive
Yes.
charter buses?
You need your current CDL with a passenger endorsement, and you've got to have a valid medical card, a very good driving record,
Mm-hmm.
drug and alcohol free. Of course, we do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
Right. A P endorsement.
P endorsement.
Got to have a
yes.
P now for our school bus drivers. An S endorsement. Talk to me on this, Chris. A S endorsement encompasses a P. So if you've got an S, you can drive a charter bus. We do some background checks for listeners that maybe we think it's a very good thing to do background checks. So something called there's a couple of tests or background checks that you guys do, Chris and Kristen. Talk to us about those two that you do.
So we pull what is called PSP, and that will basically pull up your commercial driving background, and we can see if you've ever had tickets or inspections out on the road, and how those were, what level they were, and how you performed in those, whether there was an out of service because of driver or vehicle or something like that. We also run what is called the FMCSA, which is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. It's called the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, and that is a history of your entire any sort of a random drug or alcohol test that you've had, whether you failed, passed, and whether you're prohibited or not. So we're required to do random drug screenings. We do those quarterly, and we receive a group from our consortium. They send us a list of drivers. We send them out down the road here. They take care of that. We don't have issues with those sorts of things with our current group of drivers. And so we want to keep that and maintain that high level for sure.
Yes.
So those are the two big tests reports that we run to pull pulling your driving history. Not only that, but your MVR, your motor vehicle record.
Yeah. I think the government does a good job with requirements, especially the state of Tennessee and the group of troopers and inspectors that we have. we ask for a motor coach inspection every 90 days and at first class. So we'll have a really high number of inspections, many more than most larger companies that'll have. So we're serious about safety. We're serious about drivers and the liability that we set forward. So I want to shift gears just a little bit. Christine, I'm going to ask you to stay, and if you would.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking about drivers.
No problem.
And the need for drivers and the drivers' expectations that we have. So if you need an application, a driving application, if you're remotely interested in cross-country driving, motor coach driving, you want to make some money, you can make pretty good money. We're not going to talk about it on the radio, but you can definitely make some cash,
Yes.
and it's a fabulous career if you like people and you like to travel, right?
Definitely.
And you don't mind responsibility. It's a good life. I want to talk about ELD just for a moment, and it's a new world. Just in the last 4 years, ELD it's become a mainstay for us now. And at first, it was a big scary monster in the room, but we've become familiar with it, and I absolutely love it. We want to talk about the system that we use just for a minute. And Chris, I want to start with you explaining what ELD is, and I'm going to ask Kristen some of the things that she looks at from day to day.
Sure. The ELD, it stands for Electronic Logging Device. It's basically a box that we purchased from a company called Samsara. They provide ELD solutions for companies, whether trucking companies, bus companies, all over the country. And it basically keeps up with that hours of service that we talk about. Our drivers are regulated by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and the DOT. They're required to drive no more than 10 hours and be on duty no more than 15. And so without an 8-hour break, they have to have an 8-hour break before they can start again. And what that system does, it actually plugs into the computer and is required to plug into the computer on that bus. It monitors, which is great for us, it monitors check engine lights, fuel levels, diesel exhaust fluid levels. We know the temperatures. We basically, if a check engine light is triggered, we know exactly what the problem is by looking at our Samsara. So it's a really good system, not only for keeping up with the driver's times, but for just really keeping up with the maintenance on the buses. We know before the driver knows most of the time what's going on with those buses. The ELDs were instituted a few years back. We used to have to keep up with our logs on paper. And I guess you can probably figure how not accurate that could be, because it's a piece of paper, and through the years, having been around this for almost 30 years, you know that people were doing what they had to do to make things happen. Okay, so I've seen 2 and 3 different logbooks, iterations of a logbook to get past the inspectors. What the ELD did was cut that stuff out. And so it is all electronic. Our drivers actually use the app on their phone. It connects directly to the box under the dash on the bus, and it records their exact driving times. It knows when the vehicle's moving, when the vehicle stopped. It really is handy for the drivers. It's because they don't really have to keep up with it like they used to. It does it for them. And I think a lot of drivers have, even the ones who were dead set on the old paper logs, they've really embraced electronic logging because it's easier. It's a lot easier.
Let's talk about, I just want to remind everybody, this is the First Class Charter Hour, and I have Ms. Kristen with us and Chris with us today. We're talking about ELD right now. Kristen, I want to turn to you just for a moment and talk about some of the things that you look at on your desktop that's produced by this system that we use called Samsara.
Yeah.
Can you talk to that just a little bit, some of your duties of things that you watch from day to day?
Absolutely. So on these cameras, they trigger any type of, say, inattentive driving, cell phone usage, things like that, following distance. What it will do is it will trigger an alert and it will send me an email, and I watch the video. A lot of times, some of them are not accurate. A lot of times they are. And my number one thing is safety. I thank God I do not see our drivers holding cell phones and things like that. That is completely unacceptable. But I will watch these videos, and if a driver is, say, following too close to another vehicle that could potentially cause an accident, I will sit down with that driver, coach them, show them the video, let them know, what they done wrong, what they can do right, and we go from there. And it seems to work pretty well.
Yeah.
Our drivers tend to not make the same mistakes after I've sat with them and showed them the video, and they've realized, what they could have done differently.
So we take safety extremely serious.
Yes.
The one thing that we watch also, you can speak to this, is also liability issues. Maybe a car darts in front of a motor coach,
Yes.
or the driver's accused of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe you can speak to that just for a moment.
And that camera helps us and the drivers as well.
Yeah.
Say, somebody is maybe out there looking for trouble. We've got that on camera.
Yeah.
We can go back and look at that and use that if we ever had to in court or whatever. That helps the drivers. It helps protect our company. I absolutely love it.
Right.
I love it.
It holds costs down.
It does.
It monitors idle time,
Yes.
which saves money. We had Chris, I'm going to ask you to speak to this. We had one of the alerts you were talking about came up on a motor coach that was at Disney World week before last, I believe. And you saw it on that there was a possible issue. Can you speak to that, of how that came down and the group was not disrupted, and life went on as fun? Driver took care of the issue.
Absolutely. The group was none the wiser. They had no clue that there was any sort of issue or potential issue. We received an alert that there was an issue with the exhaust, the diesel exhaust system and the clean diesel system. And for us, even the driver was not aware of it at that point. We made a phone call to Prevost has a service facility in Orlando, just outside of Orlando. And we made a call to the service facility, said, hey, can you get our coach in? They said, absolutely, bring it over. Called the driver. Driver runs it up the road. The group is at Disney World. They're having fun. They're riding roller coasters and eating Dole Whips. They're having a good time. So they have no clue that we're dealing with, potential issues. Luckily, we got over there. They took a look at it. There were no major issues with the coach. They cleared the codes and got us back on the road and rolling again. So it's one of those deals where it's so very important that we got that taken care of, because what the potential issue could have caused is when that group left to go home the next day, it could have caused a breakdown on the road. But to be able to know that we had that issue and to be able to get it checked out. Now, like again, thankfully there was no issue. But had there been an issue, it would have given us time to make other plans to get another bus to them, or to make sure our group's taken care of, most importantly.
So first class, we spent a lot of time and energy and money on being proactive instead of reactive. The what ifs in the business. So again, thank you for that. Thank you for noticing that. And that's what we build our company on, is taking care of folks and getting those roller coaster rides in and having a great time, and getting our folks home safely. So anything else that along the Samsara ELD system, one question, has it helped or hurt the industry as a whole? What do y'all think?
From my standpoint, I believe it's done nothing but help. It has created a culture of safety among drivers, whether it be motor coach drivers or whether it be truck drivers. It really keeps those and I like to call them fly-by-nights out there, those who were breaking the law, it has really limited them, and we don't see those issues anymore, which increases not only our passenger safety, but the safety of the motoring public, of everybody out there on the road. So you can go down the road and think, okay, I know that these guys are well regulated and things are being checked, and you don't have to worry about, a lot of safety things on the road.
Right. So, Kristen, I want to ask you as a driver, and you deal with drivers every day.
Yes.
You talk to them every single day. What do drivers say about the ELDs? Does it? Do they find the system problematic, or is it something that helps them, that gives them confidence?
I have only heard good things about it. I really have not had any drivers say anything negative toward it. A lot of them like it because they know that if something happens, we've got that camera footage. We can look at that and see what's going on. So from everything I've heard from our drivers, they like it. They love it.
Yeah, it's part of life now. They're actually using their cell phones now. It's so easy, and compared to some of the systems that we had in the past. So hats off to you guys for learning it. And I think they're even using AI now with driver identification. So there's some big steps made in those areas, and it's all in the name of safety. And the systems are in place not to catch people doing wrong things, but from the liability standard, we want to hold people accountable, and we want to be held accountable.
Yes.
So hats off to the state of Tennessee and the feds on that one. I think they hit it right on that one, right?
Yes.
That is definitely correct. I believe that is right, spot on.
Spot on. Let's talk about buses just for a moment. Your questions common questions that you guys take from day to day. The phone's been ringing today, and I've heard some calls that you received today. And I want to just replay, if y'all can, Chris and Kristen, if y'all can talk about some of the common questions that people ask that call us, that when they call us about the motor coach.
Absolutely. One of the biggest questions we get: how many people does your coach seat? So they're all 56 passenger coaches. They have 56 seats, then the driver's seat. So there's 57 people can be on that bus at one time. We also get questions: how much luggage can we bring? We have Prevost coaches, which are the top in the industry on luggage space. I believe and I'm just guessing here, somewhere in the neighborhood of 480 cubic feet of luggage space. Now, what that equates to in number of bags, I don't know, but I've never had a problem with somebody stuffing their bus too much that there's not enough room in it. Plus and that's underbody storage. That's under the floor, and then the overheads inside the coach are just like they're like an aircraft. You can't put your big carry-ons up there, but the parcel racks above are just large enough that you can put purses and backpacks and band instruments and smaller band instruments and things like that up top. That's a common question. We get questions about, gratuities, driver gratuities. How much should we pay? And we like to tell everybody that is strictly up to you based upon the service you receive. I think an industry standard is $3 to $5 per person per day. And that's just kind of one of those deals. Like I say, I like the customers to tell. We don't like to add that kind of stuff on, because we want to make sure our drivers are working hard from the beginning of the trip to the end of that trip.
That's right.
To get that gratuity.
Talk to me about amenities, bus, motor coach amenities, video. I'm hearing that we've added some other types of video and streaming services. Somebody talk to me about that.
Yeah, sure. All of our coaches are equipped with Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. They are also equipped with Roku streaming TV. That's a new thing for us. That's actually a new thing for the industry overall. For years, we had the DirecTV satellite systems. They are not as reliable even as our streaming services, but the streaming really is taking off, just as it is in everyone's home. And it's a money savings. Not only that, but you have access to more stuff. You have access to more TV, more movies, more things like that. Also, the buses are equipped with 110 power outlets at each seat. There's a power outlet for each person on the bus, so you can keep your devices charged. Now we're not drying our hair and putting curlers in and things like that, but they're great for charging your devices and your laptops and things of that nature.
What about on a long trip, say a New York trip? Are we going to stop for lunch and are we going to stop and take a bathroom break?
Sure.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Do we do those things?
Oh,
We
yeah.
do, yeah. Most drivers run 2.5, 3 hours. Some groups require stops even closer together than that. It really depends on the group and what the driver needs are. But usually you'll have a lunch break, hour and a half lunch break, and then hit the road again and run 2.5, 3 hours and have just a rest break to get out, stretch your legs. Good, at a rest area or a really quality, when I say quality, a quality truck stop.
Right.
Or a Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
People love the Buc-ee's now.
Yes.
So we try to make the Buc-ee's.
Hot spot. Kristen,
Yeah.
the motor coaches have restrooms on them?
They do. They all do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We do get that question as well. And
Yep.
seat belts. They are all
Seat belts.
equipped with seat belts.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. The way I understand it, the law says, just like school buses, seatbelts are not required to be worn by passengers. They are required to be worn by the driver. But the seatbelts are mandatory on all motor coaches now since, I can't remember, 2005 maybe or so. All of ours are equipped with seatbelts. Seats recline.
Yes.
And we also have the all famous flexible cup holders. Okay, and that's something that was asked for years ago, and I think all but maybe one coach has the flex cup holders. The other one is a solid style. What other questions? Give me another question before we the type questions that people ask before we move on to reservations. What are the questions that people ask you guys?
We get a lot of questions about drivers' hotel rooms, and are we responsible for that? And our groups are responsible for the driver lodging while they're with the group. The group is responsible for those things. They ask a lot about, when their deposits are due and when their final payments are due. We try to get a deposit. The goal is to have the deposit within 10 days of booking the trip, and the final payment is due within 30 days of the trip. We get questions about, do we have to pay for the driver's meals, or does the driver, if we're going to Dollywood or if we're going to the aquarium in Chattanooga, do we have to buy the driver a ticket? Those things are not required. We do give our drivers a per diem per day. Most places you'll stop, they'll feed the driver if the group is eating there. And then as far as the attractions, it depends on the attraction. If you go to Disney World, they're not going to let the driver in for free. The driver can pay, but we don't require the groups to pay for those things. I know there are some attractions. I believe the aquarium does give the driver a ticket to get in, and Universal used to do that in Orlando. So different things like that. Six Flags give the driver a ticket so they can go in, but those aren't required from the group.
Yeah, motor coach drivers are well taken care of.
Yes.
Very much.
Yes.
That's a selling point, Miss Kristen, when you're recruiting drivers now. Drivers are taken care of.
Oh, yes.
They sure
For
are.
sure.
Buses are inspected. How, when, and where those inspections happen, I'll answer that. We'd rather inspect at the house, at our terminal. It's where 90% of the inspections take place. We're not exempt from inspections in DC or in other states. The feds have perfectly and rightfully so, the opportunity to inspect anything we have. Drivers, equipment, our insurance inspections, our documents, all those are with the motor coach. Okay, I want to talk about reservations. You brought that up just for a moment. And when should I inquire about transportation? How do I do this? I'm planning a trip 6, 8 months or a year out. When should I inquire, and when should I make that reservation?
As soon as you decide you want to go.
Yes.
Honestly, we've gotten to a point where there's the supply of motor coaches is down nationwide, but the demand is up. So as soon as you get the idea that you want to travel, I'm telling folks 6 to 8 months out to plan their motor coach travel and get with us and let us get that stuff taken care of. Because we really book. We're booking 6 to 8. I have trips on the books for May of 2025.
Right.
So we're booking a year out on some of these trips because a lot of the tours and the tour groups are realizing that exactly that the demand is up and the supply is down. They're realizing they have to get on it really quickly. I receive quote requests every day for 2025 now.
Right. Yeah. Kristen, I've got a question for you. How do I inquire about motor coach travel? How do I go about that?
So what you can do, the easiest way is to go to our website and send the quote online. It automatically pops up on our computer. We can see it right then. We've got the details. We can send you out, your what the price would be. You could also call, and I would take down all your information, check for availability, and then we would send you a quote through your email. But yeah, you can do either one of those things. You can also come in and stop and talk to us inside, and yeah, we will set you guys up.
Okay. What about itineraries? Who determines the itineraries? Does the customer do that? Does First Class determine the itineraries? How does that take place? For a first time, maybe a youth pastor that's wanting to do a creation museum trip or an art trip, which I would highly recommend. How do we do this? Where do I start?
Sure. We depend on our groups to supply us with an itinerary, but we are also here to help. So again, if you've got that first time traveler, we can lead you in the right direction. We can help you with routing. We can help you with putting you in touch with somebody to plan the whole trip for you if that's something you're looking for. We can be a one-stop shop. We might not do it all in our office, but we can send you to the right people who can get those things taken care of for you. We really try to walk hand in hand with our customers from the beginning to the end of the trip, to make sure that they're well taken care of and that they know they are ready for their trip and ready to go.
So a couple of things that I would say that we could guide you on. This is through experience in the motor coach world, transportation world, is parking and tolls that we're all pay now if we go into big cities, certain states, city permits, Canadian permits. Those are things, Chris, that we're experienced in, that these we can guide you so these won't be last minute anxiety issues. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Those things, if we know we're into a situation where we're going to be, specifically the big discussion now is New York City. New York City is running a congestion toll. It's a daily toll that they'll be and it's not just coaches, it's cars even going into the city. So you'll if you're requesting those trips, you'll start seeing those things being added to your trip. Those are things that we take care of. One thing with tolls, there are several toll roads specifically down in the Orlando area. We have the Sun Pass and we have Easy Pass in every bus. So as you're traveling down the road, there's no stopping at a toll booth and throwing coins into a basket. It's all just drive through and it's taken care of. It's one of those amenities that I guess tolls are kind of odd for an amenity, but it's one of those things that doesn't delay your trip. You just drive right through and it scans that. Parking, most places nowadays, you'll run into places. Most of your amusement parks have free parking until you get to the Orlando area. And then they start charging if you park there. So we try to make sure all of that is taken care of. The group is technically responsible for those things, but we will work those things in the price for you to help you make sure that your trip is taken care of from front to back.
So you'll know the price ahead of time. And the way I'm hearing it is a deposit will be put down on the trip. We'll sign a contract, return that, guarantee your bus. Okay. Let me ask another question. As we plan, and we're all about at First Class, we're about the experience of travel for us to provide the best service that we possibly can provide. What about bad weather? What do we do about bad weather? Summer tornadoes or rainstorms or ice and snow. Is there a plan in place? How does that happen on a trip where you may hit an ice storm?
So there's a lot goes into that. We are looking at the weather as it comes up. For example, we had buses at the Opryland Hotel in Nashville when the tornado came through Madison and Hendersonville a few months back. We had a bus actually had just dropped off in Hendersonville right before the tornado hit.
That was this year.
That was this year, 2024. And I commend our drivers. We had a driver in the Opryland Hotel with a group from California who had flown in, and they were touring around and checking out Nashville, and they were kind of wandering around the hotel like, what do we do? I don't think we need to go to the basement. Even though the staff at Opryland are headed to the basement because the tornado was within a couple of miles of there. So really important. But our driver really took charge and told the group, you need to be there. We try to see those things, and we follow the weather pretty closely in the office. And so we try to help those drivers out in places that we can. Ice and snow, it depends on where you are. You get ice and snow in Lawrence County, we're all going to sit at home. You get ice and snow in Bismarck, North Dakota, and it's a little different story. They're still rolling. The roads are clear and they've got everything cleared up. So it's just a little different where you are. So
that's great. We're coming to the end of the program, and I want to thank Miss Kristen and Chris. Thanks for the hard work you do, and staying on top of things and just guiding the ship, so to speak. But I want to ask Kristen to give us, how do we contact First Class Charter? How do we do that?
Yes, so you can give me a call at the office, 931-762-5778, or you can call my cell phone, 931-675-4796. As I mentioned before, you can get on our website, firstclasscharter.net, or you can stop by our office at 721 Buffalo Road here in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
That's perfect. We have a wide presence on Facebook. You can contact us there. Chris, give us a final word, man, on Motor Coach Travel and First Class Charter.
It's the best way to travel. Absolutely the best way to travel. And if you're thinking about taking a group anywhere in this country, please give us a call. Let us work with you. Let us help you out. You really get to see America. If you're going to Orlando, New York, DC, you can always fly, yes, but you don't get to see between here and there. There are lots of things to see, and we would love to provide that transportation for you.
Well, thank you guys for being with us, and appreciate all the work you do. First Class Charter, firstclasscharter.net, Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks for a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.